The Redskins, 13. It got worse. It was fumble, stumble, and fall. And the Eagles were not going back to the Super Bowl. The Redskins started out losing their first 5 games in the regular season. And injuries, they showed up at almost every position. First-year coach Joe Gibbs, though, pared down his San Diego-styled offense, and suddenly, on all cylinders, the Redskins were moving. Joe Washington, 70 catches out of the backfield, and suddenly they were on fire. The Redskins won 8 of their last 11 games and finished 8-8, and they don't like Philadelphia at all. And so today, before 72,000 sold out at Veterans Stadium, 2 teams on a teeter-totter, one going up, one going down. Stick around and see which one.
CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the Washington Redskins against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Philadelphia, and it is hot. It's 82 degrees up here in the booth, so that means 92 to 95 down on that new AstroTurf on the field below. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Brookshier, along with Wayne Walker, and I want to welcome Wayne back to CBS, number 55 with the Detroit Lions, a great linebacker for 15 years, and we've been through a few opening games. The coach says, we need 16 in a row to win these titles and all, but is it different? Is the opening game different than the other ones?
Something special about this one, I think, always, Brookie, and it's nice to be back. We talked to both coaches yesterday. Dick Vermeil said he'd like to treat it like another game. He doesn't want to put all his eggs in the opening game basket, because if he would lose it, he wouldn't want his team to go into a 2 or 3 week fold because of it. Joe Gibbs thought it was especially important for his young team to win this one, get off on the right foot, start a winning attitude in Washington.
Well, Vermeil is more unsure than I've ever seen. Usually he's a swashbuckler, but he doesn't know about intensity. They're a very quiet practicing team, which can either be real good or real bad, and I really don't think he knows how good this team is. Now, Gibbs sort of feels differently about that.
Well, they both got questions. They really do. Dick Vermeil wants to know if he's got a hungry team. He is not sure of its intensity. He doesn't know whether he's got the team that started the season or the team that lost 5 of their last 6. Joe Gibbs got a young, hungry team. He's concerned about their defense. Can they stop Wilbert Montgomery today would be the primary thing, and he wants to know if that carryover value of the 8-3 finish will hold forth this afternoon. We're just about ready to find that out.
Okay, Wayne, Tony Franklin is looking at the football. The young father, his lovely lady, just had a baby boy the other day. I guess he was born with one booty. We don't know that for sure, but he's called Sean Patrick. And young Mike Nelms, number 21, the league's best return man, is back waiting for the kickoff by Tony Franklin. The season is underway. It's a deep kick, 5 yards deep in the end zone. Nelms up the right sideline. Nelms to the 24 and knocked down by number 98, Brown. A good coverage job by the Eagles, and they hold Nelms, who averaged 30 yards a return, to under his average of a year ago. It is hot, though, and a beautiful new AstroTurf surface. That baby's about 3 inches deep down there, and it is almost good enough for a practice field. The pros like it.
I'll tell you what, though, Brookie, it's hot, and it's going to be hot on the players, but they're in better shape coming out of training camp for this opening game than they will be any time of the year.
They're in better shape than we are. I hope that, anyway. It's a 1st and 10 now. Watch the 2 tight end offense and the single back. Riggins is a single back. Theismann throws. Knocked away as John Bunny got his hand up and spiked the ball, intended for number 84. Here's the Redskin offense. Joe Theismann, the quarterback, had 20 interceptions last year, but 19 touchdowns. Riggins, the big guy at fullback. Charlie Brown, an unknown but good-looking potential quantity. Art Monk and Mike Williams, the tight end. Jacoby, Grimm, Bostic, May, and Stark. That's a good offensive line. And the other tight end is Don Warren. 2nd down and 10. High formation hand. Riggins behind the line of scrimmage. Looked like Lamaster, number 55, and maybe Kenny Clark in on the tackle. The Eagle defense, the very best against points a year ago, and actually over the last 5 years, Wayne.
They've been around together a long time, Brookie. You're going to see a lot of losses from a one-back offense, because the Eagles are going to get some penetration back there today.
That's sort of a short gain, ground time consuming offense anyway, isn't it?
It is.
All right, 3rd down and 10. The first one facing Joe Theismann at 82. We got a 4-down rush now. 4 rushing linemen. We'll set them in just a moment. So Theismann's got time to throw, going deep and overthrowing everybody. Might have thrown that one away.
Well, he was looking for his rookie, Mike Williams, the big tight end. As we said, they started out 2 tight end offense right there. Williams, Joe Gibbs likely used just exactly like Kellen Winslow is used by San Diego. He'll line him up, put him in motion. He'll end up anywhere, flanker, tight end, and running pass patterns out of the backfield. That time he had about a step, but Theismann overthrew him.
Well, he's big too at 248 for a tight end. Jeff Hayes, number 5, the rookie from Carolina. He averaged over 50 yards a punt on 5 punts against Cincinnati. Johnny Shara is back. Wally Henry is no longer the return man for the Eagles. Here's young Hayes. Oh, my gosh. This has got to be a 6-second hang time. That's one of the highest kicks I've ever seen. At the 34 is Shara. Back to the 30 to the 31. Good coverage by Washington.
Well, he's all they said he was from that first kick. They said that he may be about the best, one of the top 2 or 3 athletes on their team. A rookie out of North Carolina State.
A 43-yard punt, but that doesn't really tell you how high it was.
No.
Here's the Eagle offense. Jaworski coming off rather a disappointing year for him. Perry Harrington back in there at fullback. He's fast. Montgomery, 1,200 yards rushing plus. Ronnie Smith, the speed, and Harold Carmichael, the size at the receivers. Walters, Kenny, Morris, Baker, Jerry Sizemore, maybe the best pass blocker in football. And the tight end is John Spagnola. 1st and 10. A lone back situation for the Eagles. Now they slip back. It's a pro set. That's the eye. Jaworski drops back, 3 men out of the, and throws away from Ronnie Smith and behind. Smith trying to work on Jarris White. That was a tentative throw, wasn't it?
Well, it was. He looked out there, and the outside linebacker, number 57, Rich Millard, had gotten a pretty good drop, considering it was 1st and 10, and he was really in the passing lane. He had to throw it back behind.
A little pressure by Perry Brooks. We'll set that Redskin defense in just a moment. Jaworski's numbers for 81. They made the playoffs again, but the last 6 games of the year, the Eagles were not quite the same. They got Sid Gilman back to help the offense, and Ron seems to like that. Montgomery and Billy Canfield. Canfield, a lone back. He's out of the backfield, too, and the flags are down. Canfield catches it at the 40. Canfield to midfield, 49-yard line, but the flags are down.
Tommy, that one-back offense, like the Eagles showed that time, like Washington had before, really spreads the field out, and you're going to see a lot of that, guys turning up in the zones.
Looks like illegal procedure. Somebody didn't get set. Offsides. Carmichael. How are you offsides at 6'9"? Well, maybe it's easier then. Here's that Washington defense now. They have got to get a pass rush. Mendenhall moved to left defensive end. Big Dave Butts in the middle. Perry Brooks, the agitator, at right tackle. And Dexter Manley, the pass rusher, at right end. Coleman, Olkowitz, and Malott, the linebackers, pretty steady there. Coleman really fast. And the secondary, and they'll play a lot of man-to-man. The Banditos for Richie Pettibone's defense. Well, we didn't show you the secondary, but it's Jarris White and Lavender at the corners. And it's Peters and, of course, Mark Murphy, the big safety man at the safety spots. Here we are now. 2nd down and 15. Early in the first period, it's hot. Run back offense. The draw play. That's Harrington, Perry Harrington. Harrington gets to the 46-yard line. A little quick trap move, and he does have good speed.
Key block as we look at it again by Steve Kenny, the right guard. Look at him right here. Set up, come on through, take on the linebacker, and open it up.
An 18-yarder. Good block on Olkowitz, as you said, by Kenny, the big kid from Clemson. Harrington broke his foot or an ankle last year against these same Redskins, and he's eager to get back playing again. He's got some speed. Canfield is back in the backfield. Vito Cab, another tight end, is in there. 2 tight ends on the field. In motion with Smith, weak side toss to Wilbert Montgomery. Wilbert gets to almost midfield. Monty Coleman driving him out. Wilbert's had some great 4-touchdown days against the Redskins. They figure they have to sort of close him down early. Huh?
Well, they felt they had to do it early. Joe Gibbs said yesterday in that meeting we had with him that he was scared to death of Wilbert Montgomery getting about 40 yards in the first quarter and then turning it into about a 150-yard day.
He's like a thoroughbred racehorse. He didn't do much during preseason, but you bring him out on race day and you can't get him back in the barn. It's a 2nd down and 8. 2 tight end. Spagnola and Cam, the rookie Penn State. Quick out. A move to Ron Smith. Missed tackle by White, and Smith gets to the 40-yard line. Malott making the tackle.
Well, that'll show you what respect for speed will do. Jarris White covering Ron Smith and gave him about 8 yards off the line of scrimmage, and then started his drop. Smith made the turn wide open. White came to close up and missed the tackle.
It's a big first down coming back from 2nd and 15 after an offsides. Smith has the good speed, and now looks like he's much more disciplined in his routes.
Well, he gives him a new dimension. Jaworski is happy anybody in the world to have that kind of speed going along with Carmichael on the other side.
12-yard gain. Here's the quick toss back to Montgomery running left. A good block on the outside. Montgomery gets inside the 35. Murphy making the tackle. The safety man now is having to make tackles. That's a little dangerous, isn't it, Mr. Walker?
Well, it was, but a key block on that sweep that time by Big Harold Carmichael. Number 17, he's lined up wide out to the right of your screen. You'll see him come back and get a block, a legitimate crackback block right there on Malott, the outside linebacker.
Looked like Stan Walters may have come out from the tackle spot and gotten a pretty good cut down, too. Montgomery and Harrington in the backfield. Harrington moving back to making a pro set, now back into an I. The deep guy is Montgomery. 2nd down and 4.5. Here's Montgomery. Ooh, he's not good. He got hit hard. Perry Brooks and Rich Malott, the Penn Stater, standing him up and being rather nasty.
Well, Malott's seen a lot of action already in this ball game. They feel that he is just starting to mature as a linebacker. That's the bread and butter part of Philadelphia's I formation offense right there. Straight ahead blocking, and Montgomery fixed the hole, but there wasn't one to pick that time.
Of course, Brad Dusick, the great Redskin linebacker, is on injured reserve. Probably will not play again this season, but Malott's replacing him and doing a pretty good job. But you miss guys like Dusick. All right, here's the shotgun. The first time either team has used it so far. It's a 3rd down play. Jaworski has a lot of time. He's going to the outside. And number 82, Mike Quick, the number 1 draft choice, makes a good reception, and somebody was hanging on.
That was number 1 draft choice against number 1 draft choice. Vernon Dean, number 32, who was the top draft choice for the Skins in there, working against Mike Quick, the number 1 draft choice for the Eagles, 1-on-1, and it was a great throw by Jaworski. Pretty good coverage, though, Brookie. He was there when the ball was, but it was just a fine throw.
So one thing about Quick, they say he will catch it if you're leaning on. Not perhaps the fastest receiver coming out of college, but maybe one of the best. There's Dick Vermeil in the middle. Fellow on the right is Joe Pisarcik, who's signaling in. Perry Harrington. Montgomery on the backs. Straight drop, 3-step drop, and fired it to Smith on the outside, trapped at the 20. Pretty good looking move. Coleman moving back very quickly. Is there a flag down anywhere? I see one on the ground, and of course the obviously partisan crowd from Philadelphia doing a little bit of ooh and on.
Part of what Sid Gilman has done to this pass offense, you saw in that play right there. While they're talking this over, you've seen Jaworski already in this game take a 7-step drop, a 5-step drop, and that time just a 3-step drop.
Well, you love that 3-stepper. Quick release, no pressure, and seldom gets sacked. The officials for today's game, by the way, who obviously have it well under control. Freddie Wyatt, the referee, Tom Hensley, Tony Viteri, Wilson Gossier, Dick Hantak, Vince Jacob, and Chuck McCullum.
Block in the back, number 88.
7 officials for 7 brides. Remember, there used to be about 3 officials. Now there's 7. 1 for each player down there. Against the Eagles, huh? Little offensive shoving. Microphone's not working on Mr. Wyatt, but we'll try to work on that. Pushing. So now it's 1st and 15 on the 30. Montgomery Harrington, single back right now. Montgomery split out to the left side. Stays out there, toss. Back to Harrington, number 35. Gets a block from Baker, but it's quickly closed. He picks up about 2.5 yards and is sort of smothered over there.
Got an AstroTurf block over there on Jarris White that time. He started up on the force, Brookie, and stubbed his toe and went down. That's good turf out there, though, as you mentioned before. It is really springy. It's probably about the best that I've ever walked on.
I don't know how much it costs, but the players were coming bouncing out of the dressing rooms. Of course, everybody does on opening day. We'll see how everybody bounces out in late November. And the frost has been on the pumpkin for about a month. Big play if the Eagles are going to get something out of the drive. 2nd down and 12. Wilbur Montgomery is split to the top of the screen. He stays there. Harrington's out in the flat. Jaworski with a lot of time. Now throws across the middle. Caught. Spagnola, I believe. John Spagnola from old Yale. Eli caught the ball. Good catch.
Spagnola, steady, dependable tight end, 6'4", 240. He's in his 4th year, and he doesn't get deep very often. That was medium-range pass. Look at this time, though, that Jaworski has. A little bit of pressure from the outside, but he just stepped up a step and put it right on the shelf in there for Spagnola.
Sizemore and Walters, 2 good pass-blocking tackles, just took the rush around the corner and down the street. Spagnola, a free agent at one time, picked up from New England a few years ago. Leroy Harris, the fullback, is in the game for the first time. It's 1st and goal. Handoff to Montgomery behind Harris. Montgomery to the goal line, scores. Wilbert Montgomery has his first touchdown of 1982. The crowd will tell you.
Excellent job over on the left side of the offensive line by the Eagles. Stan Walters to tackle Steve Kenny, and look at the lead block by number 20 Leroy Harris. That was the key to get number 31 Montgomery in the end zone.
Good blocking up front. Wilbert had 8 touchdowns all of last season. He gets his first in the first quarter of game number 1. Tony Franklin with the extra point hold. Held by Johnny Shara. Everything has been good so far. But it's early in the first quarter. Only 9:20 left in quarter number 1. And the Eagles draw first blood. Philadelphia 7, Washington nothing. 67 yards in 10 plays. 4:30. Now Tony Franklin kicking off. Mike Nelms standing 5 yards deep in the end zone. Ooh, the little man from Big Springs, Texas gets a good hanger this time at the goal line. Nelms he's got a good hold. Nelms is finally knocked out to 25 and the flags are falling. Ellis made the tackle. Flag was thrown right into a pile.
Nelms says he wants to score 7 touchdowns on special teams this year.
2,000 yards total.
2,000 total yards. That's like Ricky Henderson says he's going to steal a base a game. He came close. Nelms probably will too.
Led the league in doing the most dangerous thing I think in football, running it back.
Holding, number 55, first down.
Kaufman was detected for holding on that. Puts Theismann back inside his 15. Here's that 2 tight end offense. Only one back, and that's Riggins. Joe Washington, obviously not here, back in Virginia watching. Handoff to Riggins getting outside. Pretty good block by the tight end, and Riggins, the big running back, gets to almost the 20. Bunning making the tackle.
The tight end, Mike Williams, came in motion that time and led Riggins on that run. Williams will come across the formation clear from the other side. You'll see him right here leading the block and hitting John Bunning right there, standing him up, giving Riggins the room to get by.
Riggins has gone into a weight program and is quite a different athlete. He always was big and fast, but they said now he really feels like he's a boomer. Huh?
He's a horse.
Picked up almost 6 yards. Reverse motion by the tight end. Here's Riggins now going to the left side. Uh-oh, he's in trouble. Master, Carl Hairston, a host of Eagles that time, reading the play and getting a lot of penetration.
2 schools of psychology going out there on that play, Tom. That time the tight end came in motion, got to the middle, and then started back and went back where he was. And right before the snap, the Eagles on defense shifted to the right side right into that play.
Here comes the pass rushing defensive team.
Take a look now. You see the tight end stop. Go back where he was. Now watch the Eagles line. Watch him shift right over to where this play is going to be run. Good guesswork out there. Bunning's making the call, so he got him in the right spot.
Looked like a chorus line, didn't it?
Yes.
Back and forth. Dozy do. 3rd down. And call it 6. Theismann straight back. He's got everybody out. A good throw and a catch. For 81. Steps out of. That's Art Monk, the leading receiver of the outside people last year.
Theismann with good time that time, Brookie, despite the fact that the Eagles came in there with their 4-man rush. Here's Art Monk. 3 years out of Syracuse. Their top choice 3 years ago. 894 yards on receptions last year.
It's the most since Charlie Taylor, I think, back in the late 60s. Good looking play by Theismann. who's a very dangerous quarterback. The Eagles really respect the guy. The reverse. Fake inside. Monk has the ball. Monk with a little running room, chased by LeMaster, knocked out at the 36-yard line. But Bernard Wilson also getting in on the play. Looked like the Eagles were fooled for a while on that one.
Well, Bunting is a hard outside linebacker to fool. He's exceptionally smart in there. He was fooled for just about a step, but he recovered well, got some penetration, and forced a belly back, and that prevented that from being a big gainer.
Second down and short. We'll set that Eagle defense. We didn't get a chance to earlier. We've got Denny Harrison, Kenny Clark, and Carl Harrison, the down three on this. Robinson, LeMaster, John Bunting, and Chesley, the linebackers. Looked like somebody jumped, but there's no flag down. Wow, Riggins rambles to the 44-yard line. Bree Wilson making another tackle from safety.
Ran right over the top of the left side over there behind that left tackle, Joe Jacoby, that big second-year guy from Washington who is 300 pounds. He and Russ Grimm, the left guard, had a good hole that time for Riggins. Jacoby's a pretty good story, Tom.
Yeah, they moved Maine out of right guard when they figured the big All-American from Pitt's going to be a really standout at guard. Huh?
Nobody drafted Jacoby. He had a hard time getting a job.
They didn't even want him. They thought he was a defensive lineman. He turned out to be a real stud at offensive tackle.
Glad they have him now.
First and 10 now. Riggins moving outside, bouncing outside, hit. Might have made a yard. Carl Harrison chasing from the backside of the play, making the stop.
Now, John Riggins, you just line him up, and he just keeps coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. He looked like a pinball machine that time. He'll bounce around and get hit 3 or 4 times. I'll guarantee you one thing, though, Tom, playing against this guy, he'll be coming that way in the fourth quarter.
That's the problem for defensive people, that he outweighs by about 30 pounds. By the fourth quarter, you're looking for some way to pull a hamstring. Second down. At 8, 6.5 left in the first quarter. It's a good quarter. Straight drop back to Riggins, trapped by LeMaster behind the 40-yard line. Frank LeMaster had his man right in his crosshair sight.
You bet. A rare blitz that time by the Eagles. Bunting went from the outside. That means LeMaster will have the first back out on that side, and he was keyed in. Watch Bunting right at the right of your screen. He'll go in on the blitz. LeMaster slides over, so he'll take first back out. That would have been Bunting's responsibility. He's right in the middle of that quick screen.
And he beat the big tackle. I was looking for him to block him.
I'll tell you, you look in there and see those big guys coming and get that shot of adrenaline, you will beat him.
Be first, if at all possible. Third down. At 14, caller, right on the 40. Eagles lead 7-0. 67-yard drive. Wilbert Montgomery scoring. Man in motion is Monk. He's going down the middle, going for Monk, who's wide open, and overthrow at the 30-yard line. Theismann laid it out there, and Art Monk, who had run right by Richard Blackmore, just had to watch it bounce.
Boy, Theismann would give anything to have that throw back again, because Monk had a step and a half on Richard Blackmore, who was in there on the nickel defense that time by the Eagles.
Good-looking play. May see that one again. Here's Young Hayes now, worried about getting 11 men on the field. Number 5 waits for it. Rookie from Carolina. Yeah, he can run with it at times. He did it in college. His last punt, the first one here today, was a 43-yarder. And it hung for an hour. Oh, this is just an average kick, but it won't get you hurt. Shara, fair catching, then getting away from it. Redskins will down it at the 36-yard line. It's a hot day. This one figures to be at a fever pitch very shortly. 7-0. Maybe even today. We don't know yet. First and 10. Fake inside handoff to Harrington. And Jaworski has a lot of time out. Montgomery's open. It falls down at the 30-yard line. Wilbert Montgomery turned around and caught the ball a little bit, but he was wide open.
Play action fake on first down. Good call. As you see, Jaworski likes it. Rookie, the key to that, number 20, Joe Lavender, was on the coverage. He pulled a hamstring after about 3 steps. We may be able to pick it up in the replay. Watch over at the right of your screen for number 20, Joe Lavender here. He's on the coverage. He'll pull up short. Look at him right there holding his leg.
You're right.
Montgomery wide open.
Too. A 34-yard pass. That good run fake. The inside fake. And, of course, Joe Lavender, a very experienced cornerback, the former Eagle.
So Jervis White will move over to the right side, and the rookie Vernon Dean is now the cornerback on the left.
Both corners susceptible at this moment. First down at the 30-yard line. Eagles, quick drop. Jaworski goes back to the secondary receiver, and Spagnola can't hang on. One thing about Ron Jaworski, he never looks around for the second, third receivers. At least last year he had trouble doing it. He sure looked that time.
There's number 32. That's Vernon Dean, a young rookie, their second-round choice this year, who I think very highly of. Not
San
quite
Diego
ready to
State,
start,
huh?
they said, but they wanted to bring him along slow, play him in the nickel defense. He's in there sooner than I expected, yes.
They throw the ball so much out there, you're almost a pro when you get here. Rams on top of Green Bay, up in Wisconsin, 7-0 in the first quarter. He's hit 5 of his 7. Now he's going back again for his 8th pass. Throws the flat to Harrington. It's a slip screen. He's got a blocker and gets to the 25-yard line. Jarris White making the tackle.
Excellent timing on that screen right there, Tom. Jaworski held that ball for a long time, and the guards and tackle came right out on time. The longer you can hold that ball back there on the screen, the better it sells.
How about against man-to-man defenses, though? It's a little tough sometimes to screen to the back.
Well, if you got the linebacker on that back, it is.
They got out in front. The linemen were in pretty good shape. Baker out in front. Sides work. 5-yard pickup. It's going to be 3rd down and 5 down at 25. 3:52 left in the first period. Quick in the game. And Carmichael to the bottom of your screen. Shotgun time. Jaworski being chased and gets out in the sack. A yard short of getting back to the line of scrimmage. See who it is getting up there. Number 72. It's Dexter Manley.
But you can credit the pass coverage more than anything for that sack right there. Jaworski had some time initially, looked downfield. Everybody was jammed up, doing a pretty good job on defense. Nowhere to go. He pulled it down and did the safest thing.
Manley got the inside. A good pass rush on Walters. So now Tony Franklin will try a 44-yard field goal. He's got a 59-yarder to his credit. But I think Dick would like to see more of these 44-yarders. Boy, it was big enough. It's good. Wow.
He hammered it.
The new daddy is kicking. With 3:01 left in the first period. The Eagles take advantage. Tony Franklin with his first field goal of the year. Mike Nelms back to take it. On either side there is Wansley and Alvin Garrett. Here's the kickoff. At the 3-yard line is Nelms. Nelms, Mr. Dangerous on the return. The flag is down. Nelms is hit and fumbles at the 20, and there's a pile of players. The flag is down, though. There are flags down. The Eagles say they got the ball. The crowd says a lot, too. Helms couldn't get to the ground. They just kept him up and then began to take shots.
Place number 56 refused.
Reggie Wilkes, the linebacker, came up with the football.
It wasn't very good coordination that time between Nelms and his wedge. Look how far he is behind him. And watch Shara, number 21, come in from the left right here and force him away. Now that broke it up right there. That's where the clip was on. Now, theoretically, Nelms on the kickoff wants to be about 5 yards behind that wedge. That time he was about 10. And although it didn't mean much at the time, Shara getting in there and forcing him off his route created all that.
Created the whole thing. So Jaworski back with the ball again, deep in Redskin territory. At the 18. One back offense. Quickly to the outside. It's a screen to Harold Carmichael. A slip screen. Picks up his blockers. The big fella stumbles and gets down to about the 12-yard line. Olkowitz hanging on.
Is Lavender back in there, Tom? Was that Lavender that came up on Carmichael that time?
Just seeing if he probably got it strapped up and he's...
I think it is. Yes, number 20 is back in there. I was just going to, remark. Yes, that is. On that play right there, they're going to do that at least once a half, aren't they? Get that ball to Carmichael on the quick screen out there with one blocker in front. There is Joe Lavender.
Oh, and tough to play with a pulled hamstring.
And he pulled it good from that replay we had. He reached back there and grabbed it with his hand.
But a steady player. He had a load that time. Carmichael goes about 230, 6 foot, 8.5. Spagnola in motion, toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. He's got a block. Wilbert fumbles the ball. It's being fought for, and Lavender, I believe, came up with a recovered fumble. Redskins have the ball. A good play, stripped by Olkowitz, and recovered by Lavender.
Well, the Eagles had a good thing going that time, too. Where do you see the block that Baker and Sizemore get over on the right-hand side? Because those guys congratulate. Look at Baker and Sizemore over in front of this ball carrier. Look what they're doing with Mendenhall right there. They've got him 8 yards downfield.
Boy, Olkowitz punched it right out, didn't he?
Olkowitz is tough. He wants to get to that football. He wants to get close to it every play. He's an overachiever, and you'll see a lot of him here this afternoon.
Or at least we feel here at CBS. All right, Joe Theismann with a big boost. The morale factor. Lavender's fumble recovery. The screen pass on the outside to number 87.
All right, roll.
That's Charlie Brown. Young man that was hurt the entire year last year from South Carolina State, and I have heard nothing but fantastic things about his ability. 4.4 speed, can jump out of the stadium. So small, the numbers go down inside the pants.
The most impressive remark about him, I thought, from my point of view, was the fact that when he hits the ground, you don't even hear it. Got to be light on your feet.
Monk is to the right, and Charlie Brown, the young man that we're talking about, to the top. Here's a single back. This time it's Wilbur Jackson, number 40 in the game now. Wilbur, the fellow that averaged, 7 yards running for Bear Bryant at Alabama, and he's got over a 4-yard average in this league. A very fine football player.
He has been a good one. He really has. When he came up with the 49ers as a rookie, he was Sporting News NFC Rookie of the Year, had a fine year, 800 yards. That's when they were playing 14 games a season. I thought he was going to be one of the good ones in the league. And Brookie, he just, for some strange reason, after his second year, started having a problem hanging on to the football. And that's what concerns Joe Gibbs about him now. He says normally he'd be 1,000 yards a year.
Yeah. Well, I guess fumbles come and go too. Perhaps he's on a good roll. The pass is dumped to Warren. Number 85 took it, and boy, Joe Theismann is quick on his feet. Bernard Wilson making the tackle, a safety man. A 3rd and short, and Joe just read it and dumped it.
So he does. Watch him right here. Real short drop again. There's 3 steps. Got inside the linebacker Bunning, and before Chesley could get over, Warren had the football.
That secondary is Herm Edwards at the right corner. Roynell Young, the number 1 draft 2 years ago, at the left. Logan and Bernard Wilson. First down and 10. Fake. Now he's going deep with it. This is trying for Brown up, but now Theismann decides to run with it. He's got some running room. Gets around LeMaster and slides to midfield. Jerry Robinson forced the slide, and there was no tag.
Well, this will do a lot of things right here. It's very demoralizing to a defense to play your defense to absolute perfection, get everybody covered, give the quarterback nowhere to go, and then he comes out of there and picks up a first down on you. Now, that not only demoralizes you mentally, what it does to you fatigue-wise is something else, because you get those big defensive linemen chasing a guy like this around on a hot day like today, and that takes a whole lot out of them, too.
13-yard gain. A guy that averages over 5 yards a carry, and he's the thrower. That's the end of the first quarter. They won't have to go far. Vermeil was here. The Eagles' defense has been about the best. Last year, they were best in yards given up and points, which is the most important.
The thing about him, I asked him what the strong point was, and he said, well, the fact that they've just been together a long time and are very good mentally, don't make mistakes. There's the 3 guys up front.
Harrison, Kenny Clark, John Bunning, Chesley, LeMaster Robinson in the secondary. There it is, Young Edwards, Logan and Wilson at the safeties. It is good. They know how to play. Wilbur Jackson getting to the line of scrimmage, and a lot of problems there as Harrison chased it from the far side and Kenny Clark from the nose. How much of a loss is Charlie Johnson, the all-pro nose guard that decided to go somewhere else and went to Minnesota? How big a loss?
I don't think so much, from an ability standpoint, but from what I understand, he was just a tremendously intense player. And when you lose someone like that off your defense, it might have a tendency to go down a little unless somebody can pick it up.
Claude Humphrey left too, the old veteran that sort of showed him how.
Good direction.
Okay, right now they've got their hands full. Theismann's moving them. It's 2nd down and 8 on the 48. He's back to throw, quick drop. He's screening to the right side. A waggle screen to the right to Warren, the tight end. Warren over the 40, makes a good run and is run out of bounds at the 38. Lee Harrison got in on the tackle. I don't know how, from the defensive end spot.
Here's Kenny Clark, the nose guard that we just talked about, to replace Charlie Johnson. Look at the traffic in there. Look at him keep coming, though. Theismann looked left, threw that screen right that time. And Mark May, the number 1 choice a year ago, who was a tackle, they've switched the guard. A fine block out there to help Warren pick up some added yardage.
Got 10 yards on it. Warren out of San Diego State. Of course, Joe Gibbs, the coach, not only played there, but has a lot of the players here on this squad from it. Here's the inside trap by the tight end coming back. Ball carrier is Johnny Riggins inside the 35-yard line. boy, not much deception, but that's bringing the outside receiver back into traps are rather different things.
Pretty critical timing on that, too, considering when you got to start that guy in motion and bring him back and get him at the right slot by the time you snap the ball. I think we've got a lot to think about up here. I think with Theismann has to get him started and get to the right snap point count by the time that tight end gets in there to that spot to block.
Of course, that big Williams is 248, so he's almost a guard or a tackle anyway. It's 2nd and 5. Fake. Now he's got the big tight end blocking for him out in front. Dumps it to Williams. Williams, a rookie who doesn't act like it, spins inside the 30. Boy, he's a load. John Bunning hanging on.
He's involved in every play. The theory of that, Joe Gibbs says, if you get a great athlete like that, like Williams here, Kellen Winslow, why line him up a tight end or the linebacker and leave him there where the linebackers, the outside guys, and get their hands on him every play? You move him around, put him in motion, let him do some extra things, and use that great athletic ability. Here he comes now. He's going to block first for Theismann right here. He lost the block, but very alertly turned around and waited for the ball. Look at him switch hands there. Brick him, put it away.
Dennis Harrison almost had Theismann, and he just dumped it to his big tight end. Good idea. It's a 3rd down and short. Look out for Theismann on this. One back remaining. It's Riggins getting it, cutting back inside, looking for any hole, and finds it. He fumbles the football. They're going to rule it dead. Yeah. After cannot cause a fumble. Bree Wilson was making the tackle. It's a 1st down, and the big guy almost went to the end zone.
I didn't think he could look any stronger than he did in past years. They said this is the 1st year that he's worked on weights, and he works at it harder now than anybody in their camp. Look at the power right here. 17 games this guy has gone over 100 yards in his career. He's only 800, and what does he need? 500 something to pass Zonka?
Zonka's not
on the all-time list.
Zonka's home on the farm. A 1st down. The Redskins are moving. 11:25 left before halftime. Wiggins is trapped by Kenny Clark. Back at about the 30-yard line. Chesley helping too.
Big play by Ken Clark, and
wow,
you kind of figure that. How do you net quickly? But he thought he was in the tag team. He thought he had Riggins down one time. And another guy jumped in. Watch this. Here's Clark. He was in the gap on the left side, number 71. Got in clean. Watch him spin Riggins here. And the normal back's down right now. He's down. That's not a normal back right there, number 44. He's still battling.
Now, from the one-back offense, it seems to me Theismann is looking to see where Randy Logan, the safety man, is and running away from him. That's sort of their scheme, I believe, if I'm correct.
Well, he's their best force man, so that's a good idea.
Run to the free safety side. Here's Theismann back. It's a long drop. 7 drop. He's dropping it to Thriggins, who is knocked down on a good tackle by Jerry Robinson. Jerry Robinson, the number 1 draft for the Eagles 3 years ago. What an athlete.
Well, you know, only the great athletes really make that kind of play, Tom. A guy, a normal linebacker with good ability even will come up and make that tackle and hit the guy. But he drove right through him. He drove 2 yards through him on this.
And then did a high five.
Yeah. And he has great ability. He ran a 9,900, I think, when he was in high school, Robinson. Look at him drive through that tackle on Riggins.
Well, a Santa Rosa kid or someone up there,
right up there in the Bay Area.
It's 3rd down. A big 3rd down for the Redskins. And 15. He's back to throw. Theismann, he's being rushed and hit from behind. There's a fumble for the ball. A big pass rush by Brown. Number 98, Brown. Greg Brown got Theismann in the back.
That's just about the first legitimate sack that the Eagles have had in their last 3 ball games right here. Brown will come in from the outside on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, there was question here. Did Theismann get his arm started before the throw? He did not. He was just taking it back. So it was a fumble, not an incompleted pass. So it'll be Philadelphia Eagles football 1st and 10 on the 36-yard line when we return. 1-0.
Cincinnati over Houston 7-0 in the 2nd period. Green Bay, the Rams with a field goal by Lensberger, their new guy, and a 10-0 lead over Green Bay. It's supposed to be a team that's riddled with dissension. 1st and 10 for the Eagles after the recovery. Pass rush by Greg Brown. The toss in the eye, back to Wilbert Montgomery. Good block on the outside. Perry Harrington came out and did a good job blocking, and Mark Murphy had to make the tackle. I believe Wilbert Montgomery picked up about 7 or 8 yards. Some guy, the Eagles got 2 number 6 draft choices back in about 77. He was one for Mark Nordquist, a guard that was given to the Chicago Bears. Not a bad 6th-round choice. Had 1,249 yards a year ago, 4.9 average. In the year of the Super Bowl, really carried his team on his back. 2nd down and 2. 43. Stutter step by Harrington. He's buried. Some defensive play. Monty Coleman just ate him up. Coleman's got speed. He's also one of the... Gibbs was telling us he's the best weight guy probably on the team, too. He's a nut about lifting, huh?
Well, Coleman was the guy last year who beat the Redskins with that we saw at the top of the show with great speed. Watch this right here. He may have been on a stunt that time. The only other linebacker I've seen read that good in the last couple of years is Hacksaw Reynolds.
I think we saw Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator, giving him that signal. Worked out perfectly, didn't it? All right, 3rd down and call it 3. Lone back, that's Spagnola, the tight end in motion. Jaworski semi-rolling right. Now dumping, missing Spagnola. Sort of a jittery-looking series that time for the Eagles. Didn't look like they quite had it together. Jarris White was covering.
Both defensive coaches talked yesterday, Tom, about the fact that they weren't really sure what the other team was going to do on offense, and they thought the secret to this ball game might be how well the defensive staffs and their defensive teams on the field can make adjustments during the ball game. Maybe we've seen some of that here. That the Skins looked a little bit better that series.
And boy, that fumble recovery really pumped them up. They could have been out of it, and they're in it. Nelms back to take the punt. Maxie Runiger's first punt of the season, averaging 40 in the preseason. Become a very steady player for Dick Vermeil. Mark Slater's the snapper, the Minnesota Fireplug. Here's Runiger's kick. It's a beauty. It's a screamer headed for the sidelines. Nelms, well, it may have been a little short. You got to kick him out on the fly. You can't trust the carpet sometimes on the roll anymore. Looks like it's going to be at about the 13-yard line. The Redskins have how sweet it is. Good to hear old Lindsey Nelson doing games again, too. It makes it all seem right in this country. 1st and 10. Handoff. Theismann going back to the screen. The outside, Art Monk to the 21-yard line. Gornell Young getting his first chance to wrap somebody. There's Swamp Fox, my old teammate, who is the coordinator. There's wearing the yellow with the yellow shirt with the hat on. Now he's giving the signals.
Wears the yellow shirt so that they can look over there and find him more easily than if he was dressed in white like the rest of them. But he's not too hard to pick out of a crowd.
He's got those real sophisticated calls like banjo, St. Louis. Great coach. 2nd down and short. Pretty close. Good defensive line play by Kenny Clark, who went under. But Riggins might have gotten close. Eagles a little bit worried about the inside linebacking. LeMaster and Chesley, 2 big, good, strong hitters, didn't have a great preseason. It's a little hotter here at that stadium than it was when we started. It's now up to 85 degrees. You see the clock there, 7 minutes before half. An I formation, 3rd down, and call it a foot. 3 tight ends in. That's Riggins. Under and... looks like he might have picked it up by getting down. Bunning. Clark making the tackle.
Clark is really active from the nose tackle. Extremely
short,
active.
Short and can get under people, you know.
Good leverage.
I tell you, Bobby Beathard's done some job rebuilding this Redskin team. They've got speed and they've got youth. And that bunch of young banditos he's got on the offensive line, they're all young.
Oh, they're going to be around a long time. Plus the fact that he hasn't had a whole lot of draft choices to work with.
1st down by a short, by probably about the length of the ball. We're talking about Grimm and Bostic. And of course, May, big Jacoby. Riggins now has 22 yards. Minnesota on top of Tampa Bay 7-3 in the 2nd.
Vikings might surprise up there this year. They have groomed their team to play in the carpet up there in that Metrodome or whatever they're calling it.
But Ben can coach anywhere, I think. 1st and 10 out on the 24. Fullback takes it. Running back, gosh. Riggins out over the 35 to the 36. A 1st down going away. Bree Wilson giving up about 40 pounds to make that tackle.
A little fold block in there with Russ Grimm, the left guard, folding up through the middle of the line to lead the way through. He couldn't find anybody to block until he got about 5-6 yards downfield.
What does that mean? That the pursuit was so good it may have run itself out?
Either that, they overran it, or else somebody got knocked off because there was a big pileup, because they may have taken Clark and double-teamed him and caused the pileup to keep the pursuit from coming through. 33
yards, an 11-yard burst that time for John Riggins, formerly of Kansas, with the Jets. Monk and Charlie Brown are slotted to the bottom of the screen. This is Riggins, who's getting a lot of work now, down to the 40-yard line.
And we talked about the double team. It happened that time again on Ken Clark. You're going to get a lot of traffic when you're playing at nose tackle in there. That's Grimm again. Now watch right in front of the official. Watch the double team here on 71. Grimm comes down, centers on him low, spin him around. Now where am I?
Boy, that inside linebacker's got to fill that very quickly, doesn't he?
And if that nose tackle gets knocked back in, it's tough for the linebacker to slide down and fill that hole.
You linebackers always say that, don't you?
I'll yell at them, I'll tell you.
5 minutes left before halftime. Theismann back with a lot of time. He's going deep for Charlie Brown, and he tries to make a catch closely covered there by Herm Edwards at the 15, but that was just on the edge of being a great catch.
Well, it was a great catch and a great throw, but it was also excellent coverage by Herman Edwards. One of the toughest things to do, Tommy, and I know you know this as we look at this play again, is to get the defensive back to turn his head and eyes back towards the football when it's in the air. Watch Herman Edwards right here. See him peek up there. He knew where the ball was. You get a young guy coming down there, and they won't look, and a lot of times won't have a chance to get a hand up and even distract the man a little bit off that ball.
Vermeil said something about him yesterday. It might be the best all-around athlete on the whole squad, he said.
Yes, he did.
A 60-yard throw in the air by Theismann. He just had 6 completions in a row till that near miss. 3rd down and 6. Theismann dancing quickly, finds Riggins. Riggins makes somebody miss a tackle. Edwards, he ran over Edwards and gets into Eagle territory at the 49. Some versatile running back, John Riggins. Terry Robinson finally forced him out.
Riggins lined up the normal halfback position that time, checked for a blitz. No linebackers were coming, so he just ran a little cutout pattern. Theismann had it right on the money, and then he broke the tackle on Herman Edwards.
Amazing how that recovered fumble, when it looked like the Eagles were going to take advantage, Redskins get it back, and all of a sudden their whole squad gets momentum out of it. Second period play. It's hot, and I'll tell you, it's getting nasty down that field. 1st and 10. The fake, play action. Theismann's going deep. Monk makes a grab at the 8 or 9 yard line and holds on. That's one of the great receptions you're going to see all year. Logan had him covered, and Art Monk came up with the ball. He's going to get up slowly.
Logan played center field as good as you can possibly play it. He made up a lot of ground while that ball was in the air. And did Theismann rifle that thing? That ball wasn't 10 yards above the AstroTurf at any time. Great reception. Watch this. This is great concentration. He knows he's going to get it right here.
What a catch.
How he held on is a mystery.
A little late pressure from Carl Harrison, but Theismann had a lot of time to load it up, and he threw a strike, a 43-yarder. Suddenly it's 1st and goal for the Redskins, who trailed 10-0. But the second period has been Washington's. The crowd now calling for defense. Wilbur Jackson to the 6. Hairston making the tackle.
Theismann 10 of 14 for 100 yards now in this ball game.
One thing that Marion Campbell and Vermeil and everybody said is they don't know how intense the team is. Are they going to get mad when somebody slaps them in the face or scores on them? Now we're going to see what the defense really is for 82. 2nd and goal on the 5. A big young offensive line. You can see Marion Campbell.
3 tight ends in there now, huh, Brookie?
Yeah, 3 tight ends. One's in motion. Handoff to Wilbur Jackson, looking for any hole. He doesn't find one. Stopped at the 5-yard line.
They got a double tight end, and then they made a tight end out of the flanker to get extra blocking in there. But that time it was great penetration by the right defensive end, Carl Hairston.
Hairston did it, and then I think Chesley made the tackle.
Clark's getting in a gap. Look at Hairston outside there.
He's just looking for any hole to duck back into, huh?
And doesn't have one. That's just good team defense right there. Everybody doing their job and not worrying about the other guy, and you'll get it done.
Well said. There's Marion. That's Chuck Clausen, his associate on the defense right there with a headset. Now they've got it down. It's 3rd down and goal from the 5. Clarence Harmon's in the game. They're going to lob the ball to the end zone. Art Monk takes it. That's a touchdown for Washington. Closely covered by Herman Edwards, but another great catch by Artman.
He got his back turned toward the quarterback and couldn't see the football. We just talked about it before. He was the one that got a peek at it a couple plays ago, but that time had his back turned, didn't turn around. Watch him right here. He's on the right-hand side of your screen. Watch the release here by Monk. Playing bump and run, but you got to look. You got to look. If he'd have looked, he might have got a hand on that football.
Mark Mosley is going to make his first extra point attempt. Theismann's holy. Straight ahead kicker. Not many of those around like you were, Wayne, right?
Dinosaur.
A dinosaur. The dinosaur 7-yard drive in 11 plays. Now we're going to get young Hayes kicking off. Number 5 is young Hayes, the punter, who's kicking a low shot, trying to keep it away. This is Calvin Murray, the Ohio Stater for Dick Vermeil, who's being wrapped back at the 16-yard line. Great coverage and a great tackle by Greg Williams. Okay, we'll be back in a moment. The Eagles have the ball. The Redskins have the momentum. For some highlights, there's some wild games coming up.
Seems like there's always a lot of wild games and upsets on the opener.
And really all the way through the whole season. At least my whole career was an upset. Favored but never able to win. 1st and 10 out on the 17. We've got a good football game here. 2:19 left before half. Jaworski deep in his own territory. A fake, and Wilbert's trying to go up. Got bumped around, and they're going to call the flag on the bump downfield. The illegal chuck by the rookie, Tony Peters. No, not the rookie. Tony Peters, the safety man, who had Wilbert mano-mano, but he hit him beyond the 5 yards.
Yeah, that's a good call, Brookie. You saw it because it was an illegal hit. Montgomery out there. He went down about 7-8 yards and ran a turn. And then he started upfield. And as he started upfield, he got hit past that 5-yard line where he
illegal
allowed that
contact,
one
number 23, first down.
Watch the bump. No, the bump was back a little bit further than that.
But your goal really
started
to do that, aren't you,
yeah.
huh? You have to.
You got to. It's going to cost you 6 points if you don't bump him. So it's the penalty or 6, and he did the smart thing. He was beat.
Wilbert again flanked to the bottom of the screen. Perry Harrington, the lone back. A first down because of the defensive misplay and a sack. Right side, Perry Brooks, number 69, came in a flash. Like somebody missed him clean. He was there rather quickly.
He got there extremely fast.
2-minute warning coming up. Oh, the Redskins bounce back, trailing 10-0 and threatening to go down 17-0. They've bounced back and they're in it. It's 10-7 and almost halftime. Philadelphia, and the fans came for what they thought might be a rout. The first quarter looked like Jaworski and company were going to burn the Washington team right off the field. But hey, that's one thing Gibbs has. They lose 5 in a row last year and come back and win 8 of the next 11. They're not going to quit. You've got to keep battling them for 4 quarters. Jaworski had a great preseason. He looked much more relaxed. Sid Gilman was back, helping him with play-action passes and why do you run certain formations.
Jaworski said he feels this is the best team he's played on since he's been in Philadelphia.
2nd down. 16 after the sack. Perry Brooks. Well, they got the prevent defense in there now. Jaworski gets away from being sacked, chased from behind, unloads it, intended for Perry Harrington. Dexter Manley was breathing right down number 7's throat.
Jaworski did a strange thing that time for him, Tom. He played stare down over there with William Andrews on the right sideline, working against Tony Peters, waiting for him to come open, waiting, and then he just never did. He didn't go off to anyone else. Watch him right here now. Watch him checking that sideline. Looking there, waiting. Nothing's happening. He didn't go to a second receiver at all on that play.
It's called target fixation in the service, right?
Number 72, that Dexter Manley can run a little bit.
Couple of scores we're going to have for you. Don't forget at halftime, Irvin Brent with a lot of them. Atlanta, the Giants, 7-7. Bruner just hit Ernie Gray with a 33-yarder. And Chicago and Detroit are tied up. Suey with a 2-yard run for the Bears under Ditka. Shotgun time on 3rd down and a lot. Harold Carmichael overthrown at the 47-yard line. Lavender in pursuit.
By Lavender. You know, Tommy, the last time you and I worked together, was 10 years ago. Joe Lavender was a rookie for the Philadelphia Eagles. We did a preseason game between the Giants and the Eagles. What's that story that you get better with age? We aged and Lavender got better.
A life of crime for us, and great play by Joe Lavender. 1:47 left. Nelms back. Remember, they have the good field goal kicking of Mosley if they can get inside that 40-yard line. Runniger back on the, call it the 1. Slater the snapper. Special teams play. Don't think you can't win some football games on this in the NFL. Nelms is good at it. Uh-oh. A few yards might not make a difference. Even the timeout's better to burn one than to make a bad move with it.
Well, you know yourself, having a guy right there like Nelms as your safety man. Everybody else on the special teams know if they just get a little piece of a guy coming downfield and give him just an inch, just a space, he's going to turn into something big. It really makes everybody play a lot better on these special teams. Delay a game on the Eagles, and that was intentional.
Well, Master sort of runs that crew, and I think he thought there was a mixed-up assignment. There's Nelms. Alvin Garrett, former Giant. He's a dangerous little rascal, too. Be careful. Runniger now in the end zone. Might be coming. They are coming. Runniger kicks away from the rush, gets a wobbler out. Nelms takes it on a dead run at the 50, and Shara throws him right into the Washington bench at about the 47-yard line. Boy, a lot of good football there, pro and con. Don't go away. 1:38 left. A 39-yard punt, about a yard with CBS at 1 p.m. For those of you in the Philadelphia area, you'll see the Eagles against the Cleveland Browns from Cleveland. The rest of you will see a great interdivisional rivalry, the Dallas Cowboys and the St. Louis Football Cardinals. Second game, that's right. Washington will see the Redskins play at Tampa in their second game. A great contest for you out west. The 49ers against the Denver Broncos. A lot of football next week. A doubleheader week on CBS. Theismann hitting Warren inside the 30-yard line. Joe Theismann rolling left, getting away from Bigfoot Harrison, and Bree Wilson, the safety man, made the tackle. Boy, Theismann has been quick.
Yes, he has, and Warren is getting open to tight end. Normally you thought that the Theismann would be hooking up with the outside people, but it had been Warren today. That one for 19 yards.
Gibbs is thinking about perhaps obviously a touchdown, as you see him talking with Joe Theismann, but he might also be thinking about Mark Mosley to get a tie. The old straightaway kicker from 30 or 35 yards in is deadly. Theismann having quite a first half. Pretty careful with the ball, too. He hasn't done anything real silly with it, has he?
No, he hasn't. He said that in his younger days he'd try to do some miraculous things with the football, and one of them would turn out sensational, 7 of them would turn out bad, and then 2 of them would turn out so-so. He said now he's to the point where every 10 plays, he says he might get still 1 sensational, but 7 of them don't turn out bad anymore.
The percentages are better, right? Between the 30 and the 39, over the years, the 11 years that Mosley's been kicking, he is 58 of 79, which is like, it's about a 60% ratio, which sounds pretty good to me.
Mosley is 14th all-time in points scored in the National Football League.
Remember when Dallas used to worry about his right leg, whether he had a shot put in there, the steel liner in his cast and all that stuff? He bench presses so much weight that, of course, you kickers always were great athletic people, specimens, right?
Well, I only kicked when we didn't have anybody else. You got to call me a linebacker.
Desperation. 1:23 left before half. Lone back, gets the ball. Clarence Harmon breaks through on the quick draw to the 17-yard line. Randy Logan tackling.
Towards the end of the half now, he's had Riggins and Wilbur Jackson in there. Joe Gibbs had that time, and Harmon put a fresh guy in there. Harmon is very excellent at coming out of the backfield, catching the ball. Had 12 passes in one game. The Redskins coming out of the backfield.
Good all-around football players. Theismann, 10 of his last 11 have been completions. He's humming. Got good pass protection, going outside and overthrows number 87. Charlie Brown. Roynell Young was there. They ran into the band. Charlie Brown must have come back with a trombone. There is a flag in the end zone. back in the end zone. They're going to call it on Bree Wilson, I think. Maybe number 22 is going to be called against the Eagles. This is going to be could be a goal-to-go job from the 1.
Listen to it, because I didn't see anything.
It was away from the ball. The play on Charlie Brown looked all right. It must have been something else happening deep in the end zone. They're putting it half the distance, huh?
Unsportsmanlike conduct after the ball.
Did it happen out of bounds? Did it happen over on the sideline?
Unsportsmanlike after the ball. Unsportsmanlike after the ball. Ronell Young just took a free one and knocked Charlie Brown into the crowd, into the band. It's first and goal from the 8. Quick toss again for Art Monk, and Monk is caught and knocked away by Herman Edwards. No, it's Ronell Young over there this time. Boy, good defensive play there.
Yes, it was. Ronell Young, a Pro Bowler last year, a real introspective type individual. They say doesn't seek out a lot of notoriety or anything, just gets over there and plays day in and day out and does an excellent job. Look at this right here.
It's fast hands.
I'll tell you, Monk looked like a high diver going up and twisting in midair for that ball. Good effort by both players.
Earlier, Monk had the 6-yard touchdown from Joe Theismann. This time it was knocked away by Ronell Young. Strong formation right, it trips. Tight end comes back to the left. It sets up for blocking. Theismann with a lot of time. Oh, he finds Charlie Brown at the 1-yard line. Charlie Brown scores a touchdown. 35 seconds left before half, and Charlie Brown wants the ball. Wow.
Now, Tommy, that's what the Eagles were worried about. As Charlie Brown catches the first touchdown pass of his young career, the Eagles were worried about Theismann getting out of containment, getting a second look at the defense. As you see the Redskins celebrating on the sideline. That's exactly what happened. Watch Theismann and his quick feet make this play work right here. It's a little half rollout right here. Nothing there. Well, he threw some arms, too. There were some arms up. That was a great throw.
He's quick. Mosley's extra point attempt out of Theismann's hole is good. Boy, the Redskins have roared back. Never say die. Washington with the lead the first time that the Skins have led this afternoon here in Philadelphia.
Charlie Skywalker Brown. David Thompson.
He jumped over an offensive guard. He's only 5'10", an 8th-round draft a year ago by the Redskins out of South Carolina State. He's a good one. The ball is kicked by number 5. That's Jeff Hayes out of the end zone. He's the punter. Also does a pretty good job of hitting the tee shot.
They said that he kicked all but 2 kickoffs that he attempted in the preseason into the end zone. And on the last one that didn't go into the end zone, he came down and made the tackle at about the 18-yard line and almost put the guy out of the ballgame. Really smoked him, I guess.
They say he's really a good athlete, not just a kicker. I don't mean to demean kickers because, you know, everybody has to do something. But he is a good athlete with it. 35 seconds left, and what was a total Eagle romp in the first period has turned into a real uphill battle now. Jaworski's going to be careful until halftime. Spagnola remaining back. Harry Harrington getting maybe a yard or so. Crowd loves it. Dexter Manley, who's really playing a game at defensive end, and Monty Coleman, the linebacker, getting together for the tackle. Redskins call a timeout as Murphy goes over to check with Richie Pettibone and Torgerson and all the people that are in charge of defense for the Redskins. I think they put a lot more heat on with their defensive team than I would have expected on Jaworski in that second quarter.
And especially in the second quarter. We saw Brooks come in one time on an inside rush, get in right away, and they really have done a much better job. On the other hand, so have the Eagles. They've gotten penetration a lot.
Well, we're seeing a good football game. It sure makes me glad that all the talk about urinalysis for drug usage, testing and all that, and the possibilities of strikes, that all of that right now is forgotten. And the players, that's the one great thing about football, people. Once you blow the whistle, start the game, it is total. It's really American, this football thing.
Well, the labor situation, Tom, I think we knew that nothing was going to happen, at least here in Philadelphia today, in regards to the labor situation. On the players at practice yesterday were worried about their tickets.
That's right. When they're buying season tickets, when players are putting up their own money to buy them, you figure there's going to be a season, huh?
That's right.
We went up to John Bunning yesterday and said, John, is there anything we should know? And he said, gosh, maybe you guys know something I don't know.
They were thinking about playing yesterday. That's the way it should be.
Wilbur and Montgomery is flanked to the bottom of the screen. Carmichael and Smith, Ron Smith to the top. In the blitz. The Skins coming. Here it is. Jaworski back. Underthrown, but Spagnola catches it at the 32. He's hit by Coleman and Jarris White. 14 seconds left. Wonder what kind of a less than 2-minute drill we're going to see from the Eagles. Jaworski taking his time, in great shape physically. Again, Vermeil said, I don't know what our intensity level is going to be. We're going to miss the Krepleys that are hot guys and want to play, you know, the tough games. Maybe new leadership will show itself.
He did another thing this year, too. He said that he had heard and read so much about the way he overworked his people in training camp that he lightened up on them some, gave them some extra time off, didn't quite work them as long. He said he thinks that perhaps maybe his guys are reading that and starting to believe it, too. So he went the other way a little bit this year. But and I think because of that, since he really wasn't doing 100% what he wanted to, I think perhaps that's why he has a few doubts in his mind, how it's going to all turn out.
He lost his personnel director and close friend. Carl Peterson went to the new league here in Philadelphia. And he says now family is first, health is second, football is third. But I have a feeling that that's usually close with family. That's almost a tie. He loves it. He loves the football, too. He's a neighbor of mine. I can't get him on a golf course. He draws plays in the bunkers, you know. I'm worried about getting the ball up and down. He's making X's and O's. 1st and 10. 14 seconds left. Carmichael and Mike Quick. Montgomery and Camfield. And it's shotgun. Skins are dropping back about 15 yards and dropping quickly. Everything in front of them. This is Billy Camfield catching the ball, dropping the 40-yard line. Good tackle by Vernon Mead, the rookie. 32 looks like he might be a player.
Well, they said that they felt he would have an excellent career in the National Football League, but wasn't quite ready to start. They're going to bring him along slow.
Phillies burned their last time out. Number 7 comes over. 3rd team quarterback, the one that's on the taxi squad for Philadelphia, is a fellow named Dante Pastorini. But only on the taxi squad. The backup is Joe Pisarcik, the former Giant. Pastorini's trying to get himself in shape. Looked pretty healthy, didn't he, out here throwing around this past week?
Did. He worked hard. Was working hard yesterday. Stayed out by himself after the practice. This is almost a point and a half right now, Tom, with 7 seconds left on the clock, where Jaworski just might air it out, let it go long, and if the Skins do intercept it, it'll be deep in their territory, so it wouldn't be any problem, and time would probably run out.
Might even get a flag deep, huh?
Yep.
Get into scoring position.
Or maybe get your field goal team out on the field.
Tony Franklin, as we said, had a 59-yarder down in Texas a couple of years ago. Boy, this was a Eagles first quarter and a Washington second quarter. I can't wait for the second half. Mike Quick coming to the bottom of the screen, the number 1 draft against the Redskins number 1 draft. Shotgun formation, maybe the last play of the half. Jaworski going down the middle and throwing for it. Smith. Smith has it down to the 27-yard line, and they may not get the clock stopped. Franklin will get the chance. The clock will not start until the snap is made, and here comes Tony Franklin. This is going to be a wild contest. This keeps up all year, I'll be aged. I may be over 40 mentally.
1 second left on the clock. Well, they have to allow them time to get their kicking units in there before they start it up. Did you say that the Eagles had used their last timeout?
Well, they following the completion of that, they must not have. It must be the last one.
Right.
We were told that it was the last timeout. John Shara is going to hold at the 34-yard line, so it'll be a 44-yard kick. I know the Redskins didn't call the timeout.
Right, no, it was Carmichael. He was downfield, and he called the timeout. He got to the official who was right there and called it right away. And
if it had been illegal, they would not have allowed it to him to call. Now we'll see if Tony Franklin, number 3 draft, one of I guess the highest kicker ever drafted by the Eagles, out of Texas Aggies. I saw him in college kick a 62-yarder. That would have been good from 72. He's flamboyant. and somewhat controversial.
What will this one be? This one will be about 45, 44 yards.
Yep.
Easily within his range, the way he was kicking yesterday. And the great thing about him, most soccer kickers don't get the lift that he does. He gets tremendous lift. The ball gets up in the air immediately.
I think he likes the new AstroTurf. He said it's really firm. It's like hitting a good golf shot. Last one of the first.